Hi, welcome to Skilled Pastor, where we offer practical advice for better ministry. My name is Rob Nieves, and today I want to share with you 5 pro tips for better audience engagement. Tip number 1 are personal stories. Now, why are personal stories so effective with audience engagement? Well, here's the thing. You have to understand that as a speaker, you are speaking to people as someone who they think has it all together, someone who, in their opinion, is an expert at something. So you're gonna speak on a topic, and just by being up in a podium, just by being in front of an audience, people automatically assume that you're different, that you're better somehow than them. So when you share personal stories, you really come down to their level and you let them know, listen, I'm your friend, and I want you to know that I have struggles just like you have struggles. So using personal stories is a great way to break down barriers for them to then engage with you, because if they don't feel like they can trust you, if they don't feel like you're a person that can relate to them, they're never going to engage. They're never going to listen to what you have to say. Or even if they listen, they'll be so preoccupied with other thoughts in their minds that what you're saying is really irrelevant to them. So one of the best things that you can do is share personal stories, stories of struggles. Maybe share some stories of your family, maybe something that you went through that is related to the topic that you're going to share. But personal stories is one of the things that you'll notice every pro speaker that wants to, just cross that divide between speaker and audience will cross. You want to make sure that you are sharing personal stories. The second thing I would say is that you need to ask for engagement. Many in your audience are very polite, especially when they are in a group together. Everybody is only going to do what they feel and what they believe is acceptable. So you as the communicator, you as the speaker, you're the one that establishes the terms on what is allowed and what is not allowed. So you have to ask for engagement. Otherwise, they'll just sit there and listen to you quietly and maybe engage, but maybe not engage. But how would you know unless you ask for the engagement? So every so often you might ask a question, and even though they're not maybe answering the question aloud, maybe in their minds they're answering the question, which makes them feel like they're engaged. They feel now like this is a conversation. It's not just a one-way street, but I'm also given an opportunity to in some ways express myself. So people don't want to just sit there quietly. People want action, especially nowadays. People want to be able to participate in some way. So I would say ask for engagement, whether it's through asking questions. Maybe it might even be, hey, can you say amen to that? Do you agree with that? So you want to make sure that your audience is constantly engaging. So go ahead and ask for the engagement. Tip number 3 is simply be relatable. And what I mean by that is just be a person, like be a real person. Don't speak in language that no one else understands. Speak in ways that people can relate to. And don't just speak in ways that people can relate to, but talk about topics that people can relate to. Now, here's the thing. You need to understand that you understand and you know and you have learned deep theology, but many in your audience, they just don't know. They're just not there. They may be completely new to the Bible. So what you need to do, you need to be preaching stories. You need to be preaching inductive sermons. And that's not to say that you can't preach anything else, but I think today more and more people are gravitating toward narratives. More and more people are gravitating towards an inductive type of sermon. And again, that's not necessarily the only type of sermon you should preach, but I think if you want to engage people, you need to talk to them about where they're at. It doesn't mean that you can't bring the gospel. It doesn't mean that you can't bring Jesus, but it does mean that you are aware of what's going on in their life and that you're speaking to what their needs are. Because after all, if you want them engaged, if you want them thinking about the same things that you're talking about, then you're gonna have to relate to them. So consider relatable topics and consider sharing them with relatable language. Tip number 4 is what I call the KISS method. You've probably heard of the KISS method. Well, I've changed it just a little bit. It's the keep it simple scholar. Keep it simple scholar. Now, we all get it. You are brilliant. You are intelligent. You went to school. You know a lot of theology. I mean, a lot of things that you know. But truth be told, many people today barely even know the Bible. Now, I'm not saying that that's right. I'm just saying that that's just the reality. And the best thing that you can do is keep it simple for your audience. You just have a one-point sermon, preach one thing. Of course, you have supporting points to that one main topic, but make sure that you're absolutely clear and that you're speaking in ways that are clear. One of the things that I try to do is sometimes before I actually preach my sermon, I might try to maybe preach it to my kids a little bit to make sure that they are understanding things, because my kids are very real and they'll ask you, what does that mean? So that gives me an opportunity to see, okay, what other gaps? Because there are things that obviously with my training, I know that other people just haven't sat through that training, so they don't understand. So there might be things that you may need to clarify to your audience. So be sure that you are being as clear as possible. Try to be as concise as possible, because at the end of the day, this is a message that these people are going to have to go out and live throughout their lives. So it really doesn't help for you to be unclear. It's been said before that if it's a mist in the pulpit, it'll be a fog in the pews. So you want to make sure that your audience is not just engaged, but this is something that they're going to be able to apply into their everyday lives. So please, please, please be clear. Tip 5, I would say, is just simply use props. Find ways that you can demonstrate things to people. Use an illustration, make it vivid. And even if you don't have a prop, at least get people to imagine something. Imagine themselves in the story. Imagine themselves. So like recently at our church, we preached about Paul and Silas, and we talked about how they were dragged into prison. And I told the people, listen, just for a minute, I know that you are who you are, and I want you to be true to who you are, but for a minute, can you imagine that you're Paul and Silas? Could you put yourself there? Could you put yourself in the situation where you're being dragged for doing a good deed, and you're being beat, and this is you, and this is what your day has looked like today. You started off a really good day, but before you know it, because you cast the demon out, now you're being dragged across the city. And I am constantly telling people, put yourself in that situation. So even if you can't use something visual, at least try to say something so that people can visualize internally even. But I would say use a prop, use things that can be memorable. One time we talked about wisdom in our church, and at the end of the sermon, what I did was I made sure I gave wise, we spoke about wisdom, and I gave wise potato chips to everybody as a visual as they were leaving. So now they know, hey, listen, this week I'm gonna do my best to just be wise. So use props, use things that are gonna help your audience engage with your message. So in a video like this, obviously I can't include everything that I could say because I want to make sure that I keep it short, but I do have on our website a PDF for you that you can use as a quick reference, plus an audio to accompany it as well. And what this is just a quick reference so that you can find out the 12 tips that I have for you for better communication and better engagement with your audience. So go to our website, skilledpastor.com, and there you'll have a link so that you can download this free resource absolutely for you. So this is something that we want to give to you. Be sure to go to our website and get that resource. Also, I want to invite you to, if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, because every week we're putting out new content and we are just providing advice for better ministry. So if you are in ministry or aspiring to ministry, go ahead and engage with us. We want to talk to you, and find us on Facebook. We also want to connect with you there as well. But listen, for now, just go to our website, skilledpastor.com, subscribe to this channel, and we'll be sure to see you on our next video. God bless.